Alright, so real quick here, the first of the cosplay stuff I've been working on. This is Ozpin Cane from the show Rooster Teeth made called Ruby. It's not quite finished yet. You can see like this little back area, the little black areas are empty. I am going to put the gears in, and I am most likely going to etch in the vine details on the grip. Yeah, you can see here is most of the cane. You can see I have the little gold stripes going on there. I have the sort of grayish silver grip. You have the silver and white on the little pommel-hand hold. Sort of a silvery gray going on the main guard, as well as some straight up silver on that little sort of finger guard dash. I think it's supposed to be a lever. I don't know, like it might be a lever given how this part is supposed to extend out in the actual show, but I don't know. And yeah, no, this thing does not extend out. It's all connected. Yeah, you can see here I have the main body of the cane. It is done up in black paint. And a real quick rundown, just gonna get this in my hand properly. You can see, looks really well in the hand. Real quick rundown of what I did. The little orb right here down the bottom is a styrofoam ball that I cut in half. I squished the bottom so it was a little bit thinner than the main silver piece. I then painted that in a white glossy paint. Of course, I painted the other part silver, and I wrapped some silver craft foam around it, give it more detail. Real quick, there are, as you can see, the main body, the stick, it's actually made of wood. It's a large wooden dowel, I think a yard long. Could be a little bit longer, I don't really remember. But what I did was I took that, and then you can see right here, the first stripe is actually a layer of craft foam over it, which I then painted that end piece gold. And then there's a second layer. You can see the second layer is the silvery gray part right here. That sort of just makes the grip a lot, a bit more comfortable in hand. It's not just hard wood pressing up against your fingers. It's, a little bit squishy, a little bit nice to hold. You can see I have some good swinging power into that. Yeah, and of course I painted this sort of a grayish silver. Right here you see there's another, just a small little strap of craft foam that I painted gold. Then right here I made sort of a small cylinder out of craft foam. You can see right here it's sort of a two-layered end. You can see it was black with the grayish part glued on. You can see some little details I have in there on the gray and black to sort of give it sort of the screw or bolted look. I am going to put the gears in there. Basically I'm going to take some craft foam, cut it out into the right shape, paint them gold, and then attach them on. You can see here I have the sort of the guard dash lever, which I took a smaller wooden dowel. It was very thin, as you can see. I cut it 3 ways, glued it all together, and then painted it silver. And then what I did was I slid it into place here after cutting a hole and glued it onto the inside of the craft foam. And you can see I can actually sort of pull the lever a little bit. That way there's a little bit of flex to it. And then you can see the rest of the wooden dowel was just painted black. Don't know if I'm going to do a little end tip to keep it from sliding around on sort of slick floors. Most likely will, out of craft foam, just paint that black. So that way it looks, all nice and all together. But yeah, here is Ozpin Cane. This I actually made for Logan. It's because he's going to be cosplaying Ozpin at SAC Anime Summer, most likely. He is going to be working on that. He only needs a couple more things now aside from this, and that is the vest and well, actually, no, he needs the vest, the scarf, and the shirt. But, yep, now this is Ozpin's cane that he has. Alright, and here is the next piece of the cosplay overview dash update. These are the shoulder pads and the wrist guards for Jaune Arc from Ruby. You can see I have the left and the right shoulder pads. You can see this one got a little scuffed up at one point. That was actually from me, like, cos testing this, and actually falling on some very sharp rocks. You can see got a little puncture right there. What I'll probably actually do is I will just leave it as is, probably make a second one, but I'm going to keep this one around and use it as sort of like a battle damage shoulder pad, since this is actually for my right arm, which is in canon the sword arm. So, you know, it makes sense. The sword arm sustains a little bit of damage. Here we have the little right wrist guard, the left one, and then we have the left shoulder pad. You can see this is a lot more pristine. What I actually drop something real quick. What I actually use to make these is that the main body of these is foam board. So it's a nice durable material. That goes for all of these pieces. I then did the outline pieces on all of them. You can see right here. This is actually some craft foam, just like I used on Ozpin Cane, that I painted silver. That goes for everything as well. And then you can see the silver bits on the inside right here, same thing on these. That was all silver paint that I taped off and then just painted the little lines. And then most of these have a layer of white glossy paint just to give it more of a glossy feel like he had in the show. But yeah, that is the shoulder pieces and the wrist guards for Jaune. And on to the next piece. Alright, so this is the next piece of the Jaune Arc cosplay that I have so far. This is the main torso armor that I have. Same deal as with the shoulder pads and the wrist guards. It is mostly made out of foam board. So that way it's a nice durable material, won't get too scuffed up. You can see the little silver line running down the center that was taped off. Of course, the border on all the parts, as you can see, there's some on the side. You see there's some on the back right there, some on the side right there, obviously on the front right there. That was all craft foam I put together, painted, and then attached to the armor. As you can see, there are some brown, there's some brown elastic strap. I could not find any brown leather, so, you know, that'll have to do for right now. You can see I have some white elastic inside holding the entire thing together. This way it's a lot easier to take on and off. You know, that way there's like some stretch room. It can fit around my shoulders when it goes on or off. And that way it's a lot more maneuverable. I get a lot more articulation, you know, around sort of my diaphragm joint area. You can see a couple little socks there. You can see a little Joanne's bag and a little sneak peek of what's coming next. But yeah, that is the main body armor for Jaune to go along with the shoulder pads and wrist guards. And now on to the next and last part that I have so far. Alright, and here we have the last piece. This one's going to be a bit longer, but as we can see, this is the sword and shield combo Corsi Amor's Jaune's weapon from the show RWBY. Now, as you can see, I have the main body of the shield. It's not really rounded as much as it is in the show. And also, real quick for a little scale, that's my hand, that's the armor. Here is a pair of sunglasses, if they will stay up. That's just like, you know, that's a pair of sunglasses, that's the shield. This thing is pretty big. I have, of course, you know, 6'3". So yeah, I made this according to my size, so of course I made it a bit big. You can see I have the gold trim on the top. You can see the little gold on the shield, the main Arc family crest. That is all made of craft foam. That of course was painted and glued on. Same thing with top piece right here, which wraps around the entire sort of scabbard midsection. Now, real quick, this of course is craft foam and foam board, just like with the other bits of the armor. However, you know, this being a shield and all and having to fit the sword, you can see this is relatively thick. You can also see some craft foam bordering right here. That is because this entire shield, when not counting the scabbard, is a total of 5 layers of foam board thick. There's the main first layer. that has the little holes in for the hooks for the scabbard, which I'll show off in a sec. But yeah, that's the main sort of, you know, bracer section. But then each side of the shield is 4 layers thick. So this thing can take quite a bit of beating. This thing is very, very durable. Now, of course, you can see the sword right there. As I mentioned, this is a scabbard piece. So real quick, what you can do is pull up, pull out, and you can see the scabbard detaches. You can see the little hooks right there and there. They're also made out of foam board. Had to niche up my eye for a second. I can barely speak right now. You can see there are little holes for the hooks. You can see the first layer of foam board right there. And if I get a good look, you can see there is the 4 layers of foam board. But yeah, here is the main sheath. You can see there's a little bit of black craft foam glued onto the sheath. That is a belt loop. So this thing can be held on my belt. You know, in case I want to set the shield off to my side and I'm doing a photo shoot. You can see this is also made out of foam board that I then painted white in a nice glossy paint. Now this is not like multiple layer sticks. I just made a rectangle out of a hollow rectangle out of foam board. I then made the little tip piece, and it is able to hold my sword. And you once again see craft foam that wraps all the way around in gold. See the little gold parts of the family crest. And real quick, just to show this off, I'm gonna switch hands. You can grab the hilt, and you can see the sword does remove. Real quick, I'm gonna grab this. But yeah, real quick, I'm gonna move into a bit of a better light. Here we have the main part of Corsi Amoris, and that is the sword. Now, as you can see, the blade is a bit thick. Once again, I made it sort of relative to my size. However, this is honestly, a bit too thick. I will probably update this later on. Probably just get an actual foam sword and paint it. But this is the one I built, and I am proud of it. The main blade is, of course, foam board, which I wrapped around a wooden dowel and glued together at the sides after cutting angles into the edges. You can see the little tip. That is also made out of foam board. I used 4 pieces of foam board cut into triangles, had them all glued together at the tip. You can see it looks pretty nice. See the width of the blade. And then this guard section right here, the top and the bottom are foam board, and then all 4 sides are craft foam, and it was all painted gold. Don't know if you can see real quick, but you can see there is a little slot cut into the guard for it to fit around the blade. Of course, we have a craft foam grip and a craft foam pommel. Of course, I painted the pommel gold. The grip was actually already blue craft foam, so I just wrapped it around and glued it. You can see the little line, the little seam. And of course, the main body was built out of a wooden dowel, just like Ozpin Cane over there, which I then, of course, put a layer of craft foam around this, slid over the pommel, put that on, slid over the guard, which of course you can see there's a little cutout right there for it to fit around, and then I glued the blade to the main dowel. Of course, painted the silver, the gold, the blue, and then the gold again, and of course it just slots right back into the sheath. I'm gonna set it down right there. But yeah, you see it is 3 pieces. And also, real quick, before I forget, I'm going to move this out of the way real quick. Of course, if I flip it around, a shield needs some straps. You see I glued on some very nice, I don't know exactly what the material is. It is a very similar material used for when, you know, making the straps for backpacks. You can see some silver craft foam there and there. That's mainly just to hold this piece, because this is where I mainly grab onto it. As you can see, I'm actually going to slide my arm in. You can see I hold it pretty well. There's a little bit of room around the wrist. That is mainly for the wrist guard and an eventual glove to fit in. And of course I made the craft foam bits sort of grayish silver, just like Ozpin's Cane. That way they look a bit more like a metal, and it looks like it's actually like bolted onto the shield. Yep, there you see that. Just gonna set this down, flip it over, and quickly grab this. Yeah, you can see the 3 parts, and that is the sword and shield of Jaune Arc. And that should just about do it for this cosplay this cosplay update. So, yeah, and I will see you guys later.